Yeah, first of all, we've got a question from the online media. Okay. Yes, sir.
For the guys new to the fight game, like you've all experienced competing on a world stage before. What's the difference in energy and pre-competition anxiety going into this versus what you've already experienced?
Josh or Jacob, who wants to answer first?
I got it. So the only way to describe it for me has been like, you remember when you were a kid in elementary school and you got called out by somebody and they were like, hey, we're going to fight after school by a tree, or whatever at some time. It was like that. You know how like all day you had that anxiety, a little bit of nerves, a little bit of excited. It's like that, just kind of drawn out. Is how I feel.
It's that for a
It's
year.
that, yeah. It's just like a little bit of anxiety, a little nerves, a little excitement. Just drawn out over 6 months. But knowing at the end we're going to fight somebody.
Yeah, we actually talked about it a couple days ago. For our sport, we show up on a Sunday, which is what we did today. But in our sport, we work out by Wednesday, right? So it's like you get there, like you get settled in, you get some food, and bam, you're already back, out there competing on the floor. So it's not really much time for nerves. But as here, we're here for a whole week, which is good because, of course, when we compete in our sport, we're usually in a very similar time zone. We're not traveling too far away. Whereas here, it's like 10-hour difference and just a different climate. So it's been good to have the whole week to get acclimated to it and just get used to our surroundings and network and have a good time with people. So.
I really like that question. Coming from powerlifting, where the only variable that's being tested is strength, is a lot more stressful than being in a sport where there's a lot more room for play or room for error, if you may. You're not only relying on one physical attribute that you have to win, which, in powerlifting is just, can you lift the weight or can you not? And sometimes you can do everything perfect and still show up to competition and your wires get crossed and somehow, a weight that you can lift for 5 reps, you can't even get off the floor, So for me, it's a lot less nerve-wracking just because I know that there's so many things that I can lean into in terms of my athleticism or anyone's athleticism, I guess, like footwork, your hand-eye coordination, your striking, your head movement, your conditioning. So for me, I feel like it's an easier, in terms of nerves, it's an easier sport.
Thank you very much. Now we got one more question here, please, before we go to Christoph. Yes.
Yeah, question for Devon. Thor's made it clear he wants to knock you out. You've been here joking with everybody, but the reality is you were 16 years in the Special Forces. You one of the greatest arm wrestlers of all time. What is actually a satisfactory outcome for you in this fight?
For me, satisfactory outcome is something that I can walk away from knowing that my, I guess, heart and spirit was properly expressed. Like if I can walk in and feel like at the end of the fight that I fought as bravely and was able to, at least hold on to some of the things I learned over the course of the last 3 or 4 weeks, to me that'll be a success. I definitely want to have a battle scar. I think that would be a terrible thing to not walk away with. Thor, I don't know if you'll be able to oblige me there, but hey, and I'm not holding back that I might get lucky, and that would be like a really nice role for me, So I'm holding on to that, but so long as I leave it all on the mat or in the squared circle, like boxing is so new to me. I feel like I got dropped in the jungle and I'm just fighting through the weeds. And there might be a leopard in front of me, and I'm ready.
Yes, our friend Kugan.
Question for Martin Bacoli. 2 questions, Martin. First of all, could you tell us a little bit about your sparring with Alexander Usyk? And secondly, how far do you think you're away from fighting one of the elite heavyweights in boxing?
Yeah. Firstly, I want to thank everyone for coming down here. And I want to thank MTK for make all this. And I was in Ukraine 2 weeks back ago. Like you say, I was giving Usyk sparring because they called me to help him for his fight against AJ. and I can't reveal everything here. You know, they have a big fight. It is my best friend, and Usyk, you know, he told me to keep quiet because I would say maybe after fight. Sorry about that. And I'm looking forward for the next question you ask me about my career. So this is my coming back fight, and I've been back home for 8 months, not training, waiting for my visa to go back to UK, and I'm looking forward. Like I always say, that I'm ready for everybody, and I say thank you to the big guy who say yes for my coming back fight. So looking forward for Saturday night.
Martin, just one more question. What did Anthony Joshua say to you about you going out to spar Alexander?
He said nothing, but you know, this is professional, and he just asked me to not reveal everything, you know, on social media, and this is between us professional, you know, because one day I'll fight him. I can't reveal it now. I can meet him tomorrow because after this fight, I will be maybe IBF mandatory challenger. So I can't reveal everything because I know in 1 year I will meet him. But this is a secret. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Martin. Any more questions from online press? Yeah.
So firstly, we've got a question from Donna Corby from the Daily Mirror. It's for Devon. You've seen obviously what Thor's like in the ring. How does your level compare to his?
I'm terrible. I'm a terrible boxer, but you know, for the first 2 minutes, who knows what I'm capable of. I've never fought. This will probably be my first high-level sparring, really, ever. I have sparred at a certain percentage. Every time I've sparred, it's been harder and harder. This, to me, is a massive step into the unknown. I'm no stranger to competition. This is something that I've done my entire life. I've fought in all sorts of different sports. I'm thrilled, and I'm gaining massive appreciation for the boxing game. All the guys who do this professionally, I think, are just ridiculously high-level athletes. As a professional arm wrestler, our sport is very concentrated and small, but yeah, stepping in, you know, obviously Thor has more experience, but I know that in a fight, all you need is one lucky shot. So, yeah, cosmic punch right in the nose, Thor. Get ready for it. And splat right in his face, right? That's what everybody wants to see. So I think if enough people in the universe will something to happen, Thor's nose is going to blow up regardless of how good I am as a fighter.
All right, I think Christoph has a question earlier, though. Yes, please. Maybe had a microphone? All right, thank you.
Yeah, to Devon, how much has your, well, I heard from Don that basically you got a call 5 weeks before and you didn't even hesitate, you just took the fight right away and you were at TriStar right away training. How much has your military experience kind of prepared you for just take on any challenges like that and just, you know, seven deployments to Afghanistan and things like that have to, you know, make you a tough guy. So I'm assuming that has to be a little bit of that mentality going into this.
You know, from a physical perspective, I'd say very little, especially due to the fact that I've been a civilian for 5 years, you know, fat veteran body sitting on the couch. So it's not like I'm a soldier, boom, right in the fight game. I was a soldier, sit on the couch for 5 years into the fight game. And there's a big difference there. But I will say that from a physical perspective, soldiering isn't necessarily hand-to-hand combat, but the mental aspect of going out and doing a mission where you really believe that there's a very solid chance that you might not come back alive, doing this, you know, for years of my life, mentally, yeah, I'm fine with stepping in a boxing ring. That, you know, you talk about the adrenal dump. For me, this is going to be something I'm quite familiar with, but yeah, physically, not so much. Mentally, crossing the threshold, easy day.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I thought. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes, please, Coogan.
Thor, when you hear Devon play himself down and almost discredit himself coming into the fight, we spoke about this yesterday. Do you believe that he's playing a game with you? Do you believe that this is actually what Devon thinks? What do you think?
Honestly, I have no clue what's going through his mind. And I don't really care. Like, I have a huge respect for Devon. I'm not gonna underestimate him. I'm going to do my best. Just for him to come here, he's already winning. Just for him to accepting the fight with 5 weeks notice, he's winning. Doesn't matter how the fight goes. Like, his mentality just to accept the fight is crazy to think about. And I'm actually just, it's hard to trash talk a guy that accepts the fight with a 5 weeks not, like, what can I say to this guy? Like, I like him, but I'm gonna beat his ass. It's I'm in a rough situation here. Like, what can I do? I'll probably break his nose, but sorry, Devon, it's just my job.
Big bully. No, Thor, if you break my nose, I will personally take $500 of my prize money and give it to you, because I don't think it's possible. And a broken nose, I think it'd suit me well. I think it'll up my popularity in the world. I think I'll look better. More people will love me. And yeah, you break it, Thor. You break my nose. We'll see how that goes. And if I break your nose, I expect you to give me $5,000, because you wear nicer clothes than me. Yeah. I can get a suit like that next time we do this.
Thank you. Okay, before we go to Crystal, I want to ask the man himself, Don Idris, just the excitement. You just come this Saturday. Like, what are your thoughts about a fight?
Really? Thanks for joining, everybody. It's been a hello. It's been a needless to say, anybody who's been following this fight night for quite some time, they'd know that it's more like a merry-go-round than anything else. We started with a totally different plan about a year ago, and due to many unforeseen circumstances, we've had to make a lot of changes. And literally up until 3, maybe 4 weeks ago, we had a completely different plan, and that didn't pan out, so we had to think on our feet. We honestly think very confidently that what we're starting here, the format of taking elite athletes and testing the sport in which they were elite, testing it via the supreme art and sport of boxing, is a good idea, because it's always, aside from the fact that it's that usual barroom conversation of who would win in a fight, Batman or Superman, or a tiger or a bear, it's what does a strength sport translate into when it comes to punching? What does a CrossFitter's endurance translate into when it goes into a punch? What is an arm wrestler who's technically used to combat, it's a form of combat, but not the physical readiness? What does that look like when you put them in the ring? And then the more sporting communities we can gather together via the common ground of boxing, personally, I think that's a great idea. If it's a good idea, I guess I'll take credit for it. If it turns out to be not such a good idea, I'll just blame somebody else. And and having like the honor of actual elite professional boxers joining in on the night kind of gives me a little bit of satisfaction and validation. So thank you to everyone who's decided to join in on this, and thank you for everybody who's put up with the location changes and everything thus far.
Christoph, yeah, one question.
Well, out of my experience, the guys who have a lot of fights and even a lot of losses on the records can be one of the toughest guys to face. knowing they've been through a lot of wars. They have the experience in the ring. You know, they, especially if they went to distance. You know, I'm definitely prepared to go full 8 rounds with the opponent. However, I'm willing to stop him early, but knowing his experience in the sport, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes the distance. So yeah, we're prepared anyway. Yep.
All right, thank you. Now let's go to the online press.
One for Avril. This is from the local media. This is obviously your 8th fight. Is there anyone you really want to call out? Is there anyone you're looking at thinking, I want to take on her next?
At this stage, not particularly. I just want to challenge myself more and more with every fight, better opponents from one fight to the next. There's 4 of the 4 major world title belts. There's 4 different girls holding, like a different girl holds every world title belt. So next year, I'd like to start working through them all. But yeah, until then, just every fight, I want a tougher and tougher fight to prepare me for those big ones next year.
Okay, now before we move on to one more question, I got a question to Khalid Nasser to the very end of that part. You're a local, you know, hero out here. You got a great fan base. What are your thoughts about fighting for this card on Saturday?
No risk, no story to tell. I know I'm going up against a good competition, a legend of Ghana. By Saturday night, I'll become a legend myself in Dubai.
All right, there you go. It's going to be a legendary night. Yeah, back to the online press, please. Yeah.
Yeah, this one comes from Alyssa Ages of Penguin Random House. It's for Thor. Outside of the obvious physical strength, how do you think your experience in strongman has prepared you for this fight?
I think every experience in life, experience in sports, is going to help you with anything. And I can already feel it in boxing. My background with being in sports is helping me a lot in this new journey and helped me to get ready for the fight night. I remember when I was younger, I would get super nervous and literally before competition pee every 2 minutes because I was just that nervous. Usually, well, that's at least me. When I'm nervous, I pee a lot, and I would just happen all the time, just peeing myself all the time, just super nervous every single competition. The older I grew, the better I got in life and just every aspect of life. The better I performed and the better I was able to handle myself as an athlete. So I do think that strongman and basketball and everything else in life has helped me to be where I am today, and it's going to help me a lot on Saturday.
Yeah, this one's for the CrossFit boys, Josh and Jacob. You guys obviously got on quite well. Do you think that'll make it easier to punch each other in the face, or do you think it'll make it a little bit harder? Sorry, you guys clearly got on, you clearly good mates. Do you think that'll play into your favor as in it'll make it easier to get a bit more satisfaction out of punching him in the face, or do you think it'll make it harder? Sorry, it's my Mancunian accent. It's just me. I struggle myself sometimes.
Sorry about that. No, like everyone else has said, we're both professional athletes, right? And when me and Jacob might be friends, and I have no ill will towards him, this is a professional fight, or not a professional fight, but whatever you want to call it. I'm going to take it very seriously, and for 24 minutes, including the rest time, 18 minutes plus the rest time, I'm going to hate Jacob, and I'm going to enjoy punching him in the face.
I heard when I win, we're going to have to shave that ugly little bird's nest sitting on the top of your lip off when we're done. That's what I heard. But yeah, it's yeah, I'd shave it myself. No, but I think what's going to happen is we're going to get in that ring, and we can be good friends right now, and after it, we'll continue to be good friends. We'll have stories for the rest of our life, but and we'll laugh and have a beer in a couple of years about it. But he's right, for the 18, 24 minutes, it's not going to be hard to hit someone in the face. Like I think in the beginning when we first started sparring, it was quite difficult. Then you get used to it, and you can turn it on. It's just a different kind of a switch as opposed to CrossFit. So,
Thor. question for Thor. You've been preparing for a completely different opponent up until 5 weeks ago. How do you feel about what advantage or disadvantage does this give Eddie as where your focus will be for the next big fight, since he has more, I guess, evidence of you fighting in the ring, and he hasn't?
It doesn't do anything, and it doesn't give him any advantage at all. I don't care how much he sees of me training, sparring, or whatever. Actual competition is going to give you a much better experience than hiding behind doors. He can hide and he can work out in his garage, that's fine. When we're going to fight, I'll knock him out. But right now, I don't really want to talk about that. I want to focus on Devon. He's my rival right now. He's my enemy. And after I finish him, I'll take care of the next business.
Yeah, for me, you know, I'm gonna take this fight on Saturday and see how it goes. I'm not like thinking in my head like this is one and done. I'll definitely do another fight if the opportunity comes knocking again. So, I've really enjoyed boxing. I think it's an awesome combat sport. I love the all the little nuances of it, and enjoyed every second of it. So yeah, if another opportunity comes, I'll definitely take another fight.
Yes, sir. Yeah, go ahead.
For all of you strength athletes who have now transitioned into boxing, a lot of the boxers like to criticize you guys, say you're stiff, say you're slow, say that the carryover from strength sports to boxing isn't there. For each of you personally, do you think there's validity to those criticisms, or do you think people are writing you off, you know, and underestimating what you guys can do?
Anyone care to answer? Yeah.
You are a strength athlete. I think we've all heard it before, you know, strongman, powerlifters, even CrossFit athletes. You guys lift a lot. We are not, and I guess I'll speak for myself, but I'm not like the stereotype that people like to cast on strength athletes, you know. I'm not stiff. I'm fluid. I'm technical. I move with precision. And I'm built to knock people the fuck out. So I'm ready to show that.
All right. Anybody else?
One for Osamanu. Obviously, Martin is a huge name in Africa, and he's on the brink of a world title shot. Sorry, do you want me to repeat that, or do you need to try and... You all good? Yeah, sure. Martin is obviously a huge name in Africa, and he's on the brink of a world title shot. How honoured are you to share a ring with Martin?
Okay, actually, what he said is he's been in this thing for a very long time, and he gives very good respect to his opponents. He's coming in with everything. He has studied him, and he knows how he's going to fight. But after the fight, everything which happens, he's going to take it in a good faith. But he's ready for this fight. That is what he said. If any question.
Thank you. Yeah. More questions?
Yeah. Another couple for Thor and Devon. How seriously are you guys taking boxing? And if you're taking it seriously, how far do you think you can go?
I've been taking it as seriously as possible for the last 4.5 weeks, that you can possibly take anything. I do plan on, after this fight is done, keeping up with fighting in general, whether it's BJJ, MMA, a little bit more boxing. I don't plan on doing it every day, twice a day like I've been doing. I'm sure I will return to arm wrestling, but never again do I want to step away from what I think is just a mandatory skill in life. So for sure, I am going to keep fighting from this point forward.
I am taking, like everything I do in life, doesn't matter what it is, you know, I give it my all. I go in and do my best every single day. And I mean, I haven't seen my daughter and son and wife for more than 7 weeks almost. That's how serious I'm taking it. I wouldn't do that unless, like, I want to show people what I'm capable of. I want to show people that I'm a true athlete, that I'm able to go from being a big fat guy to a boxer. I'm not ready to say great, because I'm far from being great, but at least decent. I'll be able to move.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
I just want to say that I think it's really cool that you guys are coming from another sport into boxing, because I think a lot of people out there think that they could just step in a boxing ring off no experience and just like throw a punch and maybe do okay. But you've got a guy that's been doing it for 5 weeks, 6 months, 1 year, and a year and a half. Steffi, how long have you been doing it? A year and a half? A year, yeah. And already some of these guys have had a couple of fights and you can see the improvement from one to the next. And if you have more fights, which would be great, people will get to continue to see that progress. So I think it shows that everybody's got to start somewhere, and you guys are doing a great job, and it's really exciting for boxing.
Well, thank you very much. Any more questions? Last one, probably, before we close it off. Last question? None? Well, okay, yeah.
We've obviously seen a transition now within entertainment into boxing, as we have Logan Paul and all these other guys fighting and getting these really big paychecks for coming into your sport. I mean, are you guys excited about the added views and eyes coming into your sport, or do you feel that it's making more of a mockery of it?
Of course, I think it's awesome that these guys are bringing more eyes to the sport. And that you can't expect someone that's had no fights to step in against someone that's had 20 fights or a world champion. And I think that's a lot of the mockery that they're getting, is because people are like, oh, they're fighting a bum, or they're fighting another YouTuber or another nobody. Like, for my first fight, I fought against a girl with no fights or 1 fight. And my first few fights, I fought against, you know, other amateur girls that were on my level. And it just so happens that they're massively famous, and that's because they've created that for themselves, and they've put, you know, effort into another part of life and brought that over to boxing. And that's why they have this popularity in boxing, that on their first fight I made $0 and it cost me money, and on their first fight they're making millions. So hats off to them, and I'm grateful that they're bringing all these eyes and attention to our sport. It can only be a positive, and I think anyone who doesn't see it that way is just jealous, to be honest.
Yeah, the same thing. We are happy because money has to come from somewhere. So if they bring money in the sport, and if they bring event, that's good for us. So we can stay active and move forward. So it's good to have those guys in the sport right now. So it's good.
Yeah, about the big check part, you know, it's a bit, I find it a bit unfair sometimes, you know, but business is business. They're bringing the views to the sport. So, yeah, it's all good to me, you know, as long as we're staying active, it's nice.
All right, thank you. Now, before we move on to officially closing the press conference, we're going to have a face-off for all of the fighters. All right, first of all, let's begin with the swing belt lightweight division, Jair Herrera versus Oluwaseun Oluwasuye. All right, next up, super lightweight, Khalid Nasser versus Abdul Malik Jabir. Okay, yeah, but just do it in the middle. Here, please, sorry. Come on, everybody, make some noise. Put your hands up. Show some love. All right, face each other. All right, there we go. We got to fight. Thank you very much. Now let's move on to your super welterweight division. Jesus Gamboa Romeo versus all right, moving on. Super flyweight division. Sultan Al Nuaimi versus Albert Kami. Yeah. All right. We got to fight once again. That is super flyweight division. All right, moving on next. Super featherweight. Fahad Al Balushi versus Ayubu Tezikoma. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is interesting because this bout is a rematch, which happened earlier last year. All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. We got to fight. Thank you. Now let's move on to your super middleweight division, Stefan Fangio versus Badri. Thank you very much, Stephanie. Now let's move on to your women's bantamweight division, Avril and Jessica. Just a picture, yeah. Thank you very much, Avril. Now women's featherweight division, Stephanie Cohen versus Marcela Nieto. We got to fight. There you go, people. Come on now. And now time for the big boys. Heavyweight division, Martin Bakoli versus Haruna Osumanu. All right, next up for your lightweight showdown, Anthony. For a photo op, please. All right. Oh, what happened? I saw good, young man. Thank you, Anthony. All right, coming up. CrossFit bound Josh Bridges, Jacob Hapner. Come on, everybody, show some love. We got a bout here. Say what? That's what's up. All right, thank you guys. And for your main event all evening, title and weight, it's Devon Larratt versus Hefter Bjonsson. There we go. That's 6'6" versus 6'9". Come on, everybody, make some noise. Yeah, we got to fight. Thank you very much for coming. We'll see you Fight Night Saturday, Core Sports, Fight Night 3. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great day. Bye.